Hello, and welcome back to The Wrinkle. So I noticed something the other day when I was in clinic, and I had a patient who brought in a list of medications, which was really helpful. That's always really good if you can bring your medications in to every appointment. It's very, very helpful because we don't always simultaneously get an update in any medication changes that have happened since the previous appointment. So I was very happy when I saw this list of medications. It was really nicely printed up on a little card. So I looked through the list of medicines. There were about 5 of them. And I said, oh, these all kind of make sense. They seem like they're pretty senior friendly. And then I turned the card over and it was covered in a list of vitamins and supplements. There were at least a dozen different supplements. Some of them were the names of vitamins that I recognized. They like those letter vitamins like vitamin B, vitamin E, vitamin C, vitamin D, going through the alphabet on these vitamins. And then there were a bunch of things that were clearly some kind of a brand name that somebody had put together, a mixture of vitamins, and they had funny names like Brainatron, or this isn't the actual name, but it was like the word brain or neuro or cogni or like some other thing that makes you think about thinking, and then sort of some modern word on top of it. And that was the name of the supplement. So that was somewhat challenging because there are several reasons why taking a vitamin might not be the best thing to do for a senior. And we're going to go through some of these things right now. So for starters, a lot of people take vitamins. So if you take vitamins, you're not alone. There's about almost half of everyone in Canada over the age of 18 takes a vitamin, at least one a day. So actually it's 45.6% in the latest statistics that are available. Women take more supplements than men in general. And in Alberta, they take more supplements. That's the province that takes the most, seems to have the most supplementing or vitamining. And then Quebec has the least. That was something that I thought was interesting when I started this research. Vitamins cost a lot of money. So the annual outlay for Canadians on vitamins and supplements is about $370 million per year. And that's a lot if you consider the size of Canada. And, you know, are people really getting value by purchasing all of these vitamins? That's a good question. So we're going to go through 3 reasons why taking a vitamin regimen might not be for you. The first one is the financial cost. So when you're standing at the drugstore or Walmart or wherever you buy your vitamins, maybe it's Costco, the prices look pretty economical, especially if you buy a large bottle and you consider that it's going to last you a couple of months. But if we multiply that by taking it on a constant basis for years, that's a pretty big outlay. And that's a cost that isn't covered by most drug plans. So this is a real added cost to your health care that you could be spending in other ways. So maybe getting vitamins, if you took all of that money and spent it on a gym membership or getting a massage or hiring somebody to teach you how to do Tai Chi so that you're less likely to fall and your balance improves, that might be a better way of spending your money. Vitamin prices can actually get pretty high, especially when you're looking at proprietary blends and things like that have these fancy brand names. So the financial expense is something to really think about. The second thing is this thing called pill burden. And that might be a term that you haven't heard before, but it's something that is very real based on my experience with a lot of seniors. And a lot of seniors don't want to take pills. They would prefer to take 0 pills. And so having even one additional vitamin or several vitamins would be a burden. It would mean it would be psychologically something that a person doesn't really feel comfortable with. And it would be something they have to remember. Maybe they have to take it at a certain time of day and don't want to do that because it cramps their style. So this pill burden is actually a real phenomenon. And when we start piling on more vitamins, the pill burden can get in the way, and it can displace some other things that might actually have a bit more science and evidence behind being of benefit and might be worth the person taking. So pill burden is something to think about. The final reason, and I think the most important reason, is that vitamins are not necessarily safe. And even vitamins that we sometimes need to take for our health can be toxic or harmful if they're taken in too large of an amount or in conjunction with certain medical conditions or certain other medications. They can interfere with the absorption of other medications or the usefulness of other medications. I was looking on a website for something, which was one of these proprietary supplements actually, and it contained, amongst other things, caffeine. So if you were taking a supplement with caffeine, but you had heart palpitations, or you were having trouble sleeping, or you had anxiety, well, that could make those conditions worse, or they could interfere with other medications that you're taking. So that, and you know, when also on this website, they talked about, you know, under the head, the frequently asked questions of, is this thing safe? The response was, well, all these ingredients are natural, and how could something natural be harmful, right? So I think that the safety is always the most important thing. We're not going to get any benefit from a supplement or a vitamin if it is not safe for us to take it. So that's the most important reason of all. So this is kind of down on vitamins, I recognize that. And again, I know there are a lot of people who love them some vitamins and are going to probably come up with lots of articles and arguments and websites and things like that. So I'm not saying that all vitamins are wrong for all people, but there can be a downside. And you know, most experts in medicine and even in nutrition would say that getting your vitamins from your healthy diet is the best way to go about it. Most healthy adults don't need any supplements at all. There's really no good evidence that taking a dietary supplement or mineral or vitamin in midlife is going to prevent dementia or prolong life. There really isn't. There's been lots of study about lots of different compounds, and the evidence is not great. So eating a healthy diet and especially physical activity are the best ways to go. And they are sort of like vitamins in that respect. Finally, if you are looking at information, whether it's on the internet or someplace else about vitamins, just be careful and be thoughtful. When I was looking at some of the websites for these fancy named cognitive vitamin compounds, I was a little bit worried when I saw that they kind of, you know, you could get to them by putting in a pretty innocuous term in your search engine, like which supplements are good for my brain. It could take you to a website that, you know, says these are the best supplements of 2019, kind of ranks them, and actually the weirdest thing is that they even they cited some literature that was sort of meant to say that their drug was good, and then when I actually looked up the article on this compound, it actually showed that the drug had no effect. So they were saying that, oh, well, it doesn't make anything worse, but it was a study that had no effect. So, you know, even if someone took the time and knew how to look up this article, they would, you know, they might think that that's a good thing, but really most of us seeing that something doesn't get worse over 3 months is not really a win and not worth the money. But the most alarming thing was that you could kind of click through this, you could kind of click through these articles, and then you could buy the supplement. And it wasn't cheap. So, you know, I think if you're seeking information from an impartial source and you end up in a place where you can buy something, then I would just be really careful. I think that if you're able to talk to your healthcare provider or talk to a pharmacist or a nutritionist. It would be very helpful if you're seriously considering taking a supplement. A lot of times we as healthcare providers don't know that much about these supplements, and it would take us a lot of research to figure this out, and that can take a lot of time as well. So that's something to think about also when you're thinking about how you want to use your time with your healthcare provider. But if you are really serious about taking something and you're really committed, then it's worth talking to somebody, or at least letting your healthcare provider know that you're going to try this supplement before you embark on that. So looking at that list of meds and vitamins and supplements that my patient brought in, we did have a little bit of a discussion, and it turned out that actually this particular individual was kind of getting some pressure from another family member to take all these supplements, and the phenomenon of pill burden was real for this person. And when we kind of went over things in a risk-benefit way, we ended up deciding to stop almost all of those supplements, with the exception of vitamin D, which can be a good idea for some seniors who are at risk for fracture, and a multivitamin to sort of just have that sense that if we were missing anything, we would get it in the multivitamin, and we were able to chop a bunch of things off the list, which felt really good. So I really would love to hear, I'd love to hear your views on vitamins and supplements, and what you're taking and why, and what you think you should be taking or what you're worried about. Go ahead and chime in below, and we'll see if we can have a bit of a discussion, respectful one. And I'll see you next time on The Wrinkle.